Parenting is something that can wreck your relationship with your parenting partner, and so I want to give you a few things you can do today, and also let you know that you're not alone if you're struggling in your relationship while trying to parent kids. Everyone thinks that they're going to be a great spouse or a long-term partner one day, but not everyone is right. Before we start dating and getting engaged and things like that, a lot of times we will evaluate other long-term relationships. We'll look at those things, whether it's our parents or friends or whatever, and think, wow, when I get married, I'm never doing this. Or when I have a relationship, I'm totally going to do it different. Like we have this idea of what we're going to do. And ultimately we realize when we get in those relationships, it's harder than we thought. Being in a long-term relationship or marriage is almost impossible without kids. But with kids, it is truly, truly an incredible undertaking to try and keep that relationship together while keeping little humans alive and happy. I grew up in a home where my parents got divorced when I was 2, and so I have almost zero firsthand knowledge of what a parenting partnership looks like. I have no memories of my parents being in the same room and it not being exceptionally uncomfortable, okay? So I have nobody to look at least even try and emulate a little bit from real life. And even if your parents weren't divorced, they weren't perfect, okay? You may not have had a great example growing up. And even if they were almost perfect, they're nothing like you and your partner. So you can't directly take what they did and apply it to your relationship. So it just makes that really difficult. For me growing up, I looked at TV as an example of what parenting should look like. My favorite show was Home Improvement. I thought that Tim and Jill were like the perfect example of parents. You know, they joked around, they picked on each other a little bit, but ultimately they loved each other and they were on the same team. But let's say even if they weren't written by Hollywood writers and all we saw was that 22 minutes every week, we're not seeing the 11 p.m. fights. We're not seeing the feedings at 2 a.m. We're not seeing the chaos outside of those 22 minutes. So even let's just forget that it was written by people making it up, we still didn't get to see every aspect of their lives. So it's not a great example to follow. Or maybe you look at social media, you look at other real life people in the world parenting and nurturing their relationships and their marriages, and you think, okay, this is what it looks like. But no matter how vulnerable and transparent a creator is, they can't show you everything. They can't show you the darkest, worst parts of their relationship. And so if you're trying to compare yourself to them, you're also gonna feel like a loser because you're seeing a lot of the highlights or the curated glimpses of the parts that don't work they want you to see while they still hide other parts. And so we don't have these examples to learn how to be a good parenting partner, how to maintain that romantic relationship while also keeping humans happy and alive. Why is no one talking about how parenting can truly ruin a perfectly good relationship with your spouse or partner? No one talks about it, but here's the deal. It can. Parenting absolutely can do things to wreck that relationship that was otherwise really great before the kids came along. We've all seen it, whether it's in our own lives or the lives of somebody else, where a couple seems perfectly happy and great, and then they have kids, and a few years later, they seem miserable together. Something about parenting really kind of threw that relationship off track. If this is you, I just want you to know you're not alone, okay? Do not beat yourself up if your relationship with your partner is struggling under the pressures of being a parent. Because here's the deal, you're not a bad partner, you're a parent. Other parents are lying to you if they say that having kids didn't change their relationship. And if they're lying to you about that, they may be lying to you about other things. So I would be suspicious of those people because kids uniquely cause a chaos in your life that makes everything complicated, especially your relationship with your parenting partner. First of all, you go from being pretty well rested to being constantly exhausted, emotionally, physically, all those things. You're just so tired. And it's impossible to be your best partner in a romantic relationship when you're both exhausted. Like when you're tired, you cannot be the best you. And so you cannot have that great relationship you had before kids after kids come in and just make you really, really tired. There's also the stress of parenting, having to take care of a whole household. Yeah, before you have kids, it's you and your partner and you're like living life together, and yeah, money may be tight, but you don't have other little humans to worry about. But then suddenly everything changes and almost everything is 10 times more stressful. Things as simple as having adult conversations fall apart. At dinner time, when I'm trying to talk to my wife about the day and the kids are having this chaos across the table, I just give up. I cannot connect with her in a meaningful way when my kids are going wild, and my kids go wild every day. So that falls apart. And then also, meeting the needs of your partner is almost impossible when your kids are demanding their needs be met in so many different ways. There's a guy in my community group at church that he said it so well. He said his kids were all over his wife one day, just clawing at her all day long. And he said, listen, if you don't stop touching mommy, I don't get to touch mommy. And it was such a clear example of like, yeah, when we've got kids clawing at us physically, relationally, emotionally, all day long, we've got nothing left to give to our partners. So what are we supposed to do? I think there's 3 things parents can do to save a romantic relationship that's crumbling under the pressure of parenting. To begin with, you can save your relationship with your parenting partner by lowering your expectations. If you think you're gonna go back to the way things were while kids are demanding all the energy they demand from you, it's not happening. Lower those expectations to a realistic level. Instead of looking at how things used to be and wanting to get back to that place, try and figure out how you can get to a place now that you can both be happy while you're still facing the pressures of parenting. Because one day those kids won't be there. They won't be messing up your relationship. And all you have to do is work together to push through this season. And then you can not only go back to the way it used to be, but you can have a whole new level of relationship after surviving the trauma of parenting littles. Next, if parenting is hurting your relationship with your partner, something you can do is figure out a different way to do dinner. I think a lot of us have this idea of this magical like family dinner every night where we're just gonna like come together and talk about our days and have a good time. I do not think that happens much. And I think it especially doesn't happen when your kids are 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Maybe one day, but right now, I think what you can do is separate kid dinner from adult dinner. And here's how you do that. Make kid dinner just like another chore to get through the end of the day. Mom and dad don't eat. You make your mac and cheese, make your chicken nuggets. I mean, they're not eating what you eat anyway, so you're making 2 dinners. Feed it to them, sit at the table together, one's feeding the baby, one's feeding whatever. Figure it out and then go into bedtime mode, and about, 3 steps before bedtime, one adult peels off and starts making adult dinner. And then after the kids are asleep, you can have a quiet 15-minute sit-down date with your spouse every day. For me, when I get to the end of the day, I just check out on my phone. This prevents you from doing that. You gotta eat, and unless you're like really rude, you don't just like look at your phone the whole time you're eating with your partner. So you'll put your phones aside if the kids are in bed, you'll eat adult food in a quiet, calm way, and you can have a mini date every single day if you start this. And then one day, you can come back together. You can have family dinner when the kids are a little older and they can fit through a meal without screaming or throwing food or fighting. Like, you can do that later, but for now, divide those 2 things, kid dinner and adult dinner. Finally, you can improve your relationship with your parenting partner by expressing gratitude more. I put this in my videos a lot, and I get so much pushback on this for some reason. There are so many people that say, well, I shouldn't have to thank someone for doing something they should do anyway. There's no reason to do that. I shouldn't have to express gratitude when they're doing things that just should be expected. I just don't think withholding gratitude is a way to improve your relationship with your partner. I don't think withholding gratitude is gonna make anything better. So you need to express gratitude more. That's saying thank you for the little things they do every day, even if they do it every day, but it's also finding bigger gestures of gratitude to express to them. And you may be wondering, how do I do that? How do I know how to express gratitude in a meaningful way? Ask 2 questions of your partner. 1, what do you like to do with me? When we have the time, what do you enjoy doing? And number 2, what do you like doing without me? What's something you enjoy doing on your own when I'm not around? And then make those things happen more often as a show of consistent gratitude. Do what you can to schedule those things in your life. And listen, you may not like what they say. You may not enjoy the thing they want you to do together, and you may not like they go do that other thing. But if they're not hurting you, okay? If it's something you can both be comfortable with reasonably, make it happen. Make it happen more often so that they feel like, wow, my partner's going out of their way to make this stuff happen for me. I feel appreciated. And then turn around and say, okay, this is what I want. Ask me those questions. These are the things I want to do with you and the things I want to do on my own. Can we do those things more? And I think it's going to help you grow closer together because it's going to be you meeting the needs of each other and expressing gratitude. And that's going to make your relationship stronger. But I'm not an expert. These are just some things that I've seen in my life and the lives of my friends, but I want to hear from you. Can you put in the comments things that you do to help your relationship with your parenting partner when parenting feels overwhelming? And listen, this is not a ploy to get more views. I am seriously trying to build a community of parents helping each other. So if you've got tips, share them. And if you want to join this community, like and subscribe because we're trying to build a safe place for parents to grow together, talk about real things, get real tips to be better humans while we parent. The bottom line is none of us are perfect, and our relationships with our parenting partner is never going to be what it was before kids while we still have kids in our house. But you're not a bad partner, you're a parent. And if you want more advice on different things, please go look at my other videos. We're working through a different idea every week to figure out how we can enjoy parenting more, not be better parents. Listen, I don't have advice on how to get your kid to eat their meal or to not fight at school. What I'm sharing is how do we enjoy life more while we parent. So I'd love for you to go check out some of my other content. And thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love for you to share it if you found it meaningful or something that you think someone in your life might enjoy.